This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hey, this is William Tincup and Ryan Leary. Ryan, how you doing?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful as well.
I hate asking you how you're doing on a podcast. I feel like,
Let's stop doing it. So
it's just natural.
We've got Stephanie on today from Employ, and we're talking about we're discussing the 2025 Jobseeker Nation report findings. We've done this bit a number of times when we talk about reports and findings where we go and find stats from the report, and then we talk to Stephanie about it and find out what we're trying to find out. The data is the data, the stats stat.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not gonna like discuss that part. It's what's driving that stat that's really interesting to a lot of people. So Stephanie, would you do us a favor and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, Stephanie Manzelli. I'm the Chief People Officer at Employ, which owns a suite of applicant tracking softwares and the AI companions that assist them.
Yeah, y'all have also made some acquisitions.
We have.
Really good.
Yeah, we have our interview intelligence and interview transcription companion. That's Pillar. We just acquired Pillar, and we have it integrated with our 3 ATSs. So we have Lever, JobVite, and Jazz HR.
Right.
Yeah.
For the
and
different
you've done a
strata.
wonderful job doing that.
Yeah. We love it. We use the tool internally. I think it's incredible.
Well, that's how you know when you're talking to an HR tech vendor or work tech vendor. If they're using it themselves, they usually lead with that. It's like, hey, listen, we're customer zero.
Yeah.
And we have relationships with the product people. So when something doesn't work with us, we're emailing or texting, slacking, whatever, those people. So they've got I love that. In fact, I don't trust people that don't use their own technology. Don't tell me.
This was years ago, Stephanie, but we were William and I were that, somewhere else doing other things. And we were looking at evaluating a software. It was some type of a website type software, like content serving platform. And they used WordPress for their website. But you're the content program and the actual software you want us to build our site. I don't understand. And it was like, I couldn't fathom that. I just, it never left my head.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tantamount to if you were an Ford executive and you bought a Toyota.
Yes. 100%.
Right? Like, why would you ever, even if you fell in love with a Toyota, it doesn't matter. Why would you ever in a million years not own a Ford?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you guys ever seen the commercial? It was a Mercedes and BMW, I think it was, where I think it was when I can't remember which CEO retired. They wished him a congratulations on his retirement. And then he came out driving the BMW. Yes. It was like, I might have the card backward.
I remember this. It was like a Super Bowl commercial, or it was super visible. I remember.
Yeah. It is like, congratulations on your retirement. Yeah. And then he pulled out in the other car, like that. Right there, that
genius.
Was amazing.
Goals.
Genius.
Advertising goals.
Yes.
Genius move.
Yeah.
So what we've done recently with reports is do these stats things. So Ryan, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. All right. Let's kick you off. First one of the day. So report was fantastic, but and it has been for years. We've been pushing this thing out to our audiences for years, but all right, 57% expect to hear back of candidates, of job seekers, expect to hear back within 3 days if they're not selected. So I want to ask you, one, I want to get your thought on that. But two, is that a fair expectation, or has ghosting really broken trust that bad?
Oh gosh. Okay. This is a good one. I do think it's broken trust. I don't think it's unreasonable, right? So as we think about how applicant tracking systems have advanced, if you have a good recruitment team in there, they're reviewing their applications. I think you need to make sure that you're setting up your system so that you're communicating with your candidates pretty quickly. I mean, whether we like it or not, everything is instantaneous in our lives. You pop on Instagram, you see an ad, you click a link, it takes you to Amazon, you get it, and it's at home in the next 48 hours, right? Like everything is instant in our lives these days. And so I think it's natural that our expectations of the workforce or of employers is also kept pace. I would say for us, we see all these big application numbers on LinkedIn or on any website. We see these big application numbers and we hear it in the news. I think employers have the ability to kind of pull some of those posts down to ensure that they're getting through the application volume that they have. But I don't think 3 days is unreasonable. And I think if you structure your systems in the right way, you can absolutely communicate with a candidate.
100%. A lot of this is poor configuration on the recruiting technology. The recruiting tech has the ability to respond. A lot of them have built that in. I'm assuming if we get a jump at the job site, you can toggle a switch, put in a message, your resumes are being reviewed. Here's what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And customers are not turning that on. Which I have no data to prove that other than just.
Well, I mean, you have thousands of job seekers that will tell you that in one LinkedIn post. I mean, it's interesting. I don't understand. And even when I was recruiting years and years ago, I always use the autoresponders. Like you can customize. They don't have to be uber customized. Like just let me know.
Yeah.
And companies have been so against sending canned messages.
Because it felt impersonal.
Yeah. But that's okay too. Like,
well, if it's a choice between impersonal or nothing.
Yes. But
impersonal wins.
It's also in the report that candidates would rather engage with a chatbot than have been to be ghosted. And so
100%.
What that tells me is like people, and maybe they feel more comfortable engaging with the chatbot because they can be more direct, but people just want an answer. It doesn't have to be this big, warm, fuzzy, squishy answer, but they do want to know that you've received it. It's not gone into a black hole. I've not been ignored. And either I'm not a match or I am.
I've gotten to the point now where I'd rather deal with a chatbot than a human.
Yeah. 100%.
Honestly, they get to the point. I don't like when the chatbot's like ... like it's thinking. Like you're not thinking.
Come on, you're not thinking.
But I prefer the chatbot over a human because I want to get to the point and just let me know the next step. That's it. It's a fast-paced world.
It's funny to think about the candidate side of this. Is my son was applying to a bunch of jobs, and he got a bunch of emails, got some of that stuff, didn't get responses. But then what he was hung up on is he got a rejection automatically. And he told me, he's like, I got rejected from this one company. I'm like, first of all, a hard rejection quick is better than not knowing.
Did you use the last name Tin Cup, son? I told you not to do that.
Dude, it's crazy because their expectations are different, which is great. And just keeping up. That's why reports like this are important to kind of keep up with how they're changing, because it's just like consumer marketing or anything else. The audience is changing.
100%.
Got to keep up with them. It doesn't matter like if we like it or not.
Yeah.
You become that get off my lawn person in the neighborhood at a certain point.
I got to get that sound drop every time you say that. Excuse me, Shunny.
I love that. It's my favorite phrase.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
I had the F in there, but we'll just keep it PG for this one. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. I got one. Only 28% believe salaries are keeping up with inflation. Is that a function of comp transparency in some of the laws that have been enacted? Or is that some other exposure or just expectations changing? Like I look at that and it looks like, okay, only 24 think that salaries are keeping up with inflation. Well, first of all, the fact that they would know that they're keeping up with inflation or not is a bit more of transparency than we had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's your take?
Well, it's so interesting because there's some juxtapositions in the compensation results on the report, which I do find very fascinating.
Yeah.
Having been in HR for a while, we always know comp is everywhere, and I had a boss maybe 10 years ago who said he was in comp. I adored him, and he was trying to coach me on whether or not I should take an opportunity. And he said, don't move unless it's for X percent, negotiate X percent. And I thought that was an interesting thing, but it's always been, my point of that is comp has always been sort of this thing that falls on these reports and is always a point of satisfaction or dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
I think this is a question of perception versus reality. And so, I think we were just talking about social media. I think people have access to a lot more information than they have had before, either by, TikTok or Instagram or just social media in general, but also the news and what they're reporting in terms of what's happening with inflation and what's happening with the world. And so I think there is a perception that salaries are not keeping up with inflation. I think now more research is coming out to say maybe that is or isn't true. There's been a lot more reports with respect to what companies' compensation and merit adjustment cycles and budgets look like year over year. I do think the thing that was so interesting about the comp bit in the report, though, is that something like 80% of the respondents, they said that their salary offer for their current or a role that they're about to accept is actually higher, exceeding, or meeting their expectations, which to me is like, that's really interesting. We don't think salaries are keeping up with inflation, but then 80% of our respondents said that they negotiated a salary at or above their current rate by 5 to 10%.
Oh, that's crazy.
I think that's wild. The comp stuff in this report is really interesting this year.
So do you think that's why they're happy about that? Because they were able to negotiate 5-10% above, but it might still be below what they truly need to live, over and above where they are?
Hey, we're the payroll baddies, and our mission is to make payroll fun and relatable.
And call out industry when they hear it.
You got to call it out. You got to call it like you see it. But we also got to shine a light on all those unsung payroll heroes out there, making sure we get paid.
Yeah, those are the real payroll baddies out there, and we love sharing their stories and showing them love.
With gold chain and everything, baby.
By the way, SAP is the best payroll out there, and if you don't like it,
get out.
Well, in this year's report, that 80% was that they were happy because it either met or exceeded their expectations of what they were looking for in a change, and that was an increase of either 5 or 10% from their current salary. So I think that's why the comp results this time were interesting, because they're telling us about their increased access to the ability to negotiate. They're being successful in their negotiations. They're loving seeing that there's the pay transparency laws. So it's just interesting that even though my expectations are being met and exceeded, even though you're being transparent with me, I still perceive, this is that perception versus reality. Yeah. I still perceive that pay is not keeping up with inflation. Yeah.
And perception is reality.
Sure.
In the end. So it is what it is. All right.
And also, hold on real quick, Ryan. It also begs that what is cost of living? What is, to keeping up with inflation? Okay, well, inflation is the nebulous term of sorts. So like if you're over your skis in your living cost, and you're okay, that's not inflation. Those are poor purchasing decisions and personal finance
decisions.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's fair.
The thing is inflation. Okay, groceries go up 3%. All right, yeah, fair. Did your salary go up 3%? But there's also kind of some personal stuff in there as well. Are you living within your means?
Sure, that's
and if
fair.
you're not living within your means, no salary is going to be high enough because you're spending whatever you get.
Yeah.
So we would see that dissatisfaction.
Something came up on my Instagram. I think it was last night. It was a Dave Ramsey thing, and it was really it was really interesting. It was like the wealthier, so 150,000 and above in salary, have less retirement and less savings in most cases than those earning $50,000 to $75,000 because they don't know how to be frugal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're forced to be frugal, you do it and you're scared. And generally you're coming from a family who was depression raised, right? Like put away, get a job, stick to a job, get a 401k. And in the end of 30 years working at UPS or in manufacturing, they've got $2.5 million stacked away in retirement.
Yes.
because they were taught that. They were
Yes.
taught this is the only way to survive.
I
And when
look
you're
at those
taught,
as
you
I look
look.
at those as bookends. The people that make less but are frugal,
Mhm.
and then there's this kind of nouveau riche of the middle of they're going to spend whatever they make. They don't save. They're not that. And then
Yeah.
on the other end of that are people that are really wealthy. Like it's just so many times here that I've driven around and met millionaires, met billionaires, and they're driving Toyotas. They're driving, old pickup. I mean,
Those
Sam,
are my kind of people.
yeah, they're driving pickup
Yeah.
trucks. Like it, and
Yeah.
it's paid for. It's not leased.
Yeah.
It's not financed.
It's the Zuck hoodie wearing it on. You know what I mean? Like, hey, who's
Right.
that bum? I don't
Those
know.
people, and it's like the bookends
Yeah.
of frugalness
Yeah.
for different reasons. One's forced, one's not forced.
Yeah.
But
I
I love
should
it.
clarify, I'm not a billionaire, but I do drive a Honda that's about 10 years old.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think she's a billionaire, 100%.
Yeah, she's definitely a billionaire.
Can you imagine? Just been
All right.
pretending this whole time.
Yeah.
Just pretending. Yeah. All right, Stephanie, does it surprise you that, so in the report, 77% of candidates were comfortable with being recorded in an interview?
Oh,
Does that
interesting.
surprise you?
Well, okay, so there's my professional opinion and my personal opinion. And professionally speaking, it did surprise me. Personally speaking, it didn't. I think, again, somewhere else in the report, we talk about how our applicants believe that AI is actually good in the interview process because it's helping reduce bias. I think like over 0.5% of people, over 60% or something like that. But it's not surprising in the sense that people feel like, okay, you're able to better pay attention to me. You are either taking better notes or something is helping you take the notes. There's a repository for you to go back to where if you're like, oh, I don't remember what you said about X. I think oftentimes in the past, I've seen recruiters have to recall a candidate and say, tell me a little bit. Have you ever been in a scaling company?
I probably spent half my career calling people back.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And so now you have this thing that you can go recheck. And I think candidates appreciate that because doesn't it feel a little demotivating when somebody calls you back and says, I think you might have mentioned this thing, but can you tell me more about it?
I think you might have told me you were qualified.
Yeah.
Not quite sure.
Yeah.
Let's run through this interview
Did
again.
you have 10 or 20 years of experience in that?
But I also think it helps with like that bias reduction, right? Because now there's no he said, she said. You have this repository of it, and you're vetting me equally against the other candidates. So for that reason, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And it's a collaborative process. The hiring process is collaborative. And so you've got, if something's recorded and it's in the ATS, whether or not it's voice or notes or whatever that is, then people can talk about that. It's like, okay, we both had an interview. We both saw this now. And then now they can actually collaborate better.
Yeah.
If something's recorded. And I think as on the consumer side of things, we're more used to this because of this phone call might be recorded for quality assurance
purposes.
Right? So, and everybody's got a note taker for every Zoom call that comes in. So it's like, I think we're just edging to this place like, it's not that big of a deal. You're recording and you'll use it the way that you need to use it to make the best pick that you can.
I totally agree. I also think of like high volume hiring. So we talked before I think we started recording. I've been in the retail sector. So we had back to school season where we were hiring hordes of employees, or the holiday season where we were hiring hordes of associates at the store level. Similarly, I've been in a caregiving company where our volume depended on the school's schedule. And so, in school break periods, we were high volume, and in back to school times, maybe a little less volume. And so when I think about high volume hiring, what often happens is you have repeat candidates year over year, maybe teachers who have summer off and are looking to work at, a beach at a retail store or something like that. And so what an awesome opportunity to have pre-recorded interviews from just 12 months ago that helps you take a look at your candidate pool and go, oh, wait a minute, you were a great candidate that we talked to last year. Hey, Ryan, are you interested in coming back? Do you have the summer off again? You want to come back? And suddenly you've made a human connection. Suddenly somebody feels valued because you remembered them. So I think it can have huge value to business. And I do think candidates probably see that to some degree instead of answering the same old questions about themselves that they answered 6 months ago.
Did you mean that proactively with the 12 months ago summer beach job, whatever that was?
You could proactively if you have a really cool TA strategy.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
I don't know if you meant to do it that way, but that's actually what I got out of it is like that person worked, a great teacher example.
Yeah.
That person worked there. They have the 3 months off. They're in Destin, Florida. Done deal. They worked that job. They did a good job. They had good ratings, etc. We could be reaching out to that person in February.
Yep.
And just say, hey, what do you got going on circus this summer?
Yeah.
Are you planning on being in Destin or whatever? Like, we could be proactive in that, which is actually really cool.
Yeah. What I love, Stephanie, what you made a mention of feeling valued.
Yeah.
We just had a recording where that was the topic of the recording was undervalued, underappreciated.
Yeah.
And how some employees feel this way. How do we not make them feel this way in that recruiting process as well? And so this is, I think, a great example of that.
Yes, 100%.
Alrighty, I got one. 36% of respondents quit within 90 days because the job didn't match what was promised. Okay, so where are we getting this wrong, in your opinion? Like that's a big number. Okay, and some of that could be a lot of high volume, and those just natural attrition. Yeah. But where do you think we're getting this whatever this is? Where do you think we're getting it wrong?
In the scales of fair accountability, I'm putting it in two places. Okay. One, we have to make sure that we're vetting the opportunities that we're applying for. It is just as much an opportunity for you to ask questions and assess the quality of this opportunity as it is for the employer to vet you. So that's where I'll put that on the candidate a little bit. But more than that, I actually, from an employer perspective, what I really genuinely believe is driving this is employers not setting clear expectations during the interview process by kind of delivering that really personalized experience and giving them a realistic understanding of the market or the job that they're walking into. Yeah. And I think we've had this, for years and years and years, a job posting is this advertisement, or at least for the last 5 years or so, we've been trying to attract people, like, come look at us. If you're in the tech space, you're trying to pull people from FANG, right? Like, you are trying to pull the top talent or the perceived top talent. And so it's been this kind of this role of glossiness and this come join us and it's grass is greener. But I think that there's a huge opportunity for companies to be a little bit more transparent. I think one of the things we saw through this whole report is trust is broken. That is not unique to employ. I don't know if either of you followed Edelman Trust Barometer.
Yeah, we just talked about it last week, I think.
Did you? Yeah. I'm an advocate of this report. I have loved it for years. And this year's report's findings are shocking. And our report really has some very mirrored themes there, that the trust between the employer and the employee is broken. Right. And so if you're an HR leader, you're a TA leader, get in there. Give your TA team talking points. Give them the skills that they need to be able to navigate these challenging discussion points. Candidates are worried about the stability of your org, the expectations of the job.
And they might not ask that question. They might not ask those things because they want the job.
Exactly. So we can be more transparent.
I tend to think that employer branding has gotten this historically wrong, where they only talk about the good news.
Yeah.
And, again, as you mentioned, we have access to all the data, or a lot of the data. So the CEO just got charged with sexual misconduct, blah, blah, blah. But okay, like, lead with it. Don't bury it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's personality based, but I would rather a person come in and go, here's why you don't want this job.
It's my favorite interview question. I love it when a candidate asks me that.
Why don't I want the job?
Go hard into that. Here's why this is not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And go into it and then go, okay, so that's the cons. Let's talk through them so that you're comfortable with the cons, so that you know what's going on in the company. Here's the pros.
How does the interviewer take? I've always wondered that, because no one's ever asked me that question.
What?
Why don't I want the job?
Oh,
how would the interview take that? Like, as an interviewer, if I came in and said, why don't I want this job?
Because they're not trained well.
They're not trained, yeah.
Because they're not trained well, they take it personally.
Yeah.
They do take it personally.
Yeah.
It's my favorite though, because it shows me that you're actually evaluating me and my opportunity in the same way that I'm evaluating you. And then it causes me to be real with myself and say, oh my goodness, have I told you that our tech stack doesn't talk to each other? And by the way, we don't have that HR ticketing software that we need to implement, right? So it causes me to get real with what I've said. And you mentioned just leading with some of the ugly stuff. I've done HR consulting for a number of years, and there have been times where organizations have done reductions, and I've said as part of the comms plan, what did you tell your recruiters? Did you prepare them? Because they need to call every candidate. If this hits the news, they need to call every candidate and tell them proactively, hey, this is a thing. Did this impact this area? Not. You should be proactive, even with the ugly stuff. But with this metric that you pointed out, though, I think it's just, we've got to be transparent with our candidates, because if they join a company and 3 months later, they're like, you sold me a bill of goods, like, you kind of own that, right?
Not good.
I used to get away with it, with a day in the life.
Yeah.
When on the agency days where we'd pay them.
Yeah.
So anybody that got to that certain point, we'd pay them. We'd say, take off a day of work, come in, and you're just going to be an employee. We're not going to sugarcoat. We're not going to give you the fucking tour. We're not going to do all this stuff. Which is like, no, you're going to be sitting and doing stuff so that you go into meetings and doing the bit to see how we work, to see if it fits you. Yeah. And to see if we fit you and you fit us, etc. Like, we're past the skill stuff. Yeah. We know your skills. We know where you're good and what you're not at. And okay, we can handle that. We just don't know if you'll like it behind the veil. And and you don't know that either. And there's really, in an agency, there's only one way to do that. It's like, get behind the veil. Yeah.
But you've got to compensate them, like you said.
Got to compensate.
We've done, I've been part of situations where we haven't compensated. And it was like developers, it's a typical developer interview. Come in, whiteboard the issue, but it's a real problem that the company has, and all that. Like, I mean, that's bogus. So
I had McKinsey do that to me in Cleveland. That during my interview, they put up a real problem, and they told me. So that was okay. But they told me, how would you solve this? I'm like, okay. And got right into it. It was fun. It was more intellectual.
I would have no issues with it. I don't think.
But they disclosed was the important part. Managing partner came in and goes, "Okay, I have a problem. Let's see, you're a smart guy. Well, let's see how smart you are. Here's the problem I'm working on," and it was okay.
So I'm going to give you this stat from the report. I have my opinions on it. But this is your show.
Controversial. Okay.
So you have to give your opinion, but I'll probably chime in. 58% trust HR more than AI, but 61% think AI can reduce bias. So basically what we're saying is they trust the humans more, but they still want the tech to help.
Yes.
Is that a balanced thing, or it's kind of like they're lying that they really don't trust? They trust the tech more.
Oh, no, I think it's a balance thing. So I have a strong opinion on this too. I'm so glad you picked this one. I mean it. I think, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? Like, there are certain things that let's talk about the 61 and then we'll talk about the HRPs, but because I think one feeds the other. Right. I think that using the technology, there are a couple of places that I think have historically been pain points where candidates sit and wait for a reply via email or a phone call. That's stuff like interview scheduling. That's stuff like, where am I at in the application process? That's stuff like your auto rejection or your auto moving to the next step. Those are communication touch points. Or if you have a chat bot, for example, that empowers the candidate to just quickly pop on there and type their question, and they get a very direct fact-based question. I think all of those things are the goodness, right? And if you're using AI ethically in your hiring process, and responsibly, ethically, whatever you want to call it, then it is automating and providing an avenue for sort of those administrative, mundane, or clerical things. The human connection. I talk so much about not replacing the human connection. I really do believe that the technology, how it's advanced, has actually given our recruiters, if they're doing and passionate about their role the way that they should be has given them sort of this space to make really positive and direct connections with the candidate, where they're really doing, skills-based interviews, high experience-based interviews. Because just because I hit a bunch of check boxes on my resume, it doesn't mean that the how I got those things accomplished is the right how for your company. And so now your recruiter is like able to find a better match, a higher quality in the confines of the definition of what your org has. And so I think they go together, right? Automation with the administrative things, my ability to have access to information as I want it. I love that. I'm part of that 61%. And similarly, okay, now I want to know that a person is asking me questions. Now I want to know that a person is interested in me. Now I have this really complex question about the equity that is very specific to my experience, and the recruiter is able to walk me through that with respect to my unique situation. And I love that too. And so I do think one feeds the other. And I got really passionate while I was talking.
Yeah,
that's very
you did.
passionate
why
about
you're
it.
here.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Is 58% trust though? Is that
Seems low. Seems low.
I read that William and I always do the opposite, right? So now we're looking at, was that 42% or something? Like, seems like it needs to be higher, like HR is not doing their job.
I agree. I think recruiters, it's so unfortunate. I think that this technology is advancing. I think some companies may be slapping AI in place or slapping these types of technologies in place, but not enabling their recruiters to really understand how 100%. To use this, how to augment your day, or maybe they're not putting it in the right places, so to speak.
Right.
And so I think there is a huge opportunity for employers and recruiters to understand nobody's replacing your job. You shouldn't be. And if that's what the tool promises you, I think they're probably not being 100% honest with you. Right. But bigger than that, how do you use these to find efficiencies within your day, create a better candidate experience, and then make those connection points? We're still at that precipice right now. Some companies are doing it well, and I think you're seeing that in the 58%. But yeah, there's another 42% out there that probably should and can do it better, and that should be something that they're focused on in the year ahead.
I love it. All right, I'm going to go to one
I
that's
really liked that.
85% of respondents are open to leaving, even though 82% say that they're satisfied at work.
Yeah.
Like, make that make sense for me.
That's a loyalty thing.
Yeah. I think my quote might be in the report, but I said, as soon as I read that, loyalty is dead, right? Like the days of yore where, where our parents, maybe joined a company and you work for 30 years and you get your really nice pension. That's gone. I have an uncle who's never worked at another company, and he's only in his 50s and he's thinking about maybe retiring. But I think that's what it tells us. This question, whether or not you would leave your current employer, it pops up everywhere. It pops up in Jobseeker Nation. It pops up in some of the major companies' engagement surveys.
Right. And
I think what this tells us is I can be perfectly happy, but my head is always up and always looking because I need to take care of me and my family. And so, that is what it says to me. I think employers can combat this, though, by creating meaningful experiences for people in the workplace. And what I mean by that is, I mentioned just before, recruiters, I don't know that every company is upskilling our recruiters. My boss, I think you've talked to him, but my boss is married to a recruiter, and once he told me that they were given some technology and maybe hadn't been trained on how to use it fully. And I think that is a very replicatable example. And I think,
yes.
Yeah.
I think, but that's not just about recruiters, right? Like, what other sectors of your business are using AI or brand new tools or automation? Have you trained them on that? Because that's going to be the differentiator between the job you're doing today and the job that exists in 3 years. We should be pushing and moving our teams to that. And so if you can create these meaningful education and experiences within your employee base to continue to develop them, create loyalty with them, have them stay with you, it's only benefiting them and you in the long run.
For me, it's three things. It's AI training, AI optimization, and AI adoption.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going. It doesn't stop. You're just on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So I love that. Good.
I just think it's become scary. All of a sudden to people, it's become scary. And I don't think it needs to. Like, this is the way things have evolved
Yeah.
for eons.
Yeah.
If you forget about it being technology, and I just thought of this morning, but like the printing press. When it was invented, one person did one copy at a time. And then years and years go by. I'm oversimplifying this. And suddenly there's a machine that's printing multiple at a time, and somebody's QAing them, or somebody's, pressing the buttons on the machine. Then it continues to advance all the way to now. There are still authors out there, but it's on a computer or it's on your phone. And so that is one thing that has gone through a full evolution cycle. We're in the same cycle now, but we've created sort of the spin around it that isn't necessary. And all of those people, whether it's the printing press person who did one all the way to now, had to be reskilled and retaught how to evolve within the tech stack or the software or the hardware that he was
Or get
using.
left behind.
Or
Yeah,
get left behind.
Or get left behind.
Yeah.
And that's what employers need to do. They need to make sure that they're evolving their staff just as fast as everything around them is evolving.
Yeah. All right. 32% said, of everyone surveyed, 32% said a pay cut triggered their job search. 31% said burnout. And 26% blame the economic stress.
So give me those three again. Burnout.
32% said
It's a third, a third, a third. I got that.
yeah, it's a third, a third, a third. Pay cut,
Uh-huh.
burnout.
Well, that's definitely a signal. Yeah. Got it.
Burnout and economic stress.
Burnout's a weak sauce. It's an excuse. So I don't buy that at all. And then what was the last one? Burnout?
Economic stress.
That's legit.
Yeah.
That's legit. But for me, you get a pay cut, the company is telling you.
Yeah.
In no uncertain terms.
The only place that works out is in sports. Like Dallas Goedert on the Eagles just went from 14 million to 10 million. Like, how in God's name did you just give up $4 million just to stay in your house in Philly and play in Philly?
It's not a drop in a bucket when you make tens of
100%.
millions a year. I don't watch the sports, so I can't relate to this.
Right.
But I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think reasonably, I think the respondents who state that they look for a new job or they leave their job as a result of a pay cut, I think that's absolutely feasible.
Fair.
I think burnout's also very real. The way that we work today is so different. And I know that's such a tired excuse, right? Because we've talked about it for 5 years, but now we're in this
burnout excuse.
Well, no, not the burnout excuse. No, that's real, I think. I think in some pockets, maybe not. But, whether you work from an office, whether you work remotely, whether you work hybrid, it's so different and everybody's scenario is so different. And so let's say you've never worked in an office and then you come out of school, you've been remote the whole time. Now suddenly you're having to go into an office. That can feel exhausting to people. Or let's say you've always been in office and suddenly you're hybrid or you're remote and you got family demands coming at you from every single angle. And I'm trying to focus on my job and I can't do it all at the same time. And oh, by the way, the news is on in the background and the world is just different than it was.
That was COVID for me. Like I've been at home since 2009.
Yeah.
So like it's nothing, but everybody else came into the house, all of them.
Yes.
And I'm like, guys, stop.
None of them are guys.
From me.
They're all women.
This is what you do all day? Yes, this is what I do. Go away. Yeah.
I actually put an on-air Post-it note on my door to the office so that people don't bother me. My family.
You could have sprung for the light.
No. It's just it's too easy, and it looks like I did it. And they don't come in.
I like this. You should get one of those little click.
The
on-air light.
Yeah, on air. Don't come in.
Oh, I love it.
My problem with burnout is there's no universal definition of burnout.
Yeah.
So your burnout's not my burnout, not Ryan's burnout. And I also think it's just we're latchkey kids. We were expected to just make decisions. Oh, you didn't have dinner? Oh, you make dinner.
Make dinner. You're hungry.
Yeah. And so from there, being parents of kids, they're just soft.
It's different for sure.
Soft for me. That's my opinion.
No, I grew up in the military. I agree.
Oh, good point. Good God. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair statement. So I just personally, I think that burnout is, in those examples that you use, is they were put into a new situation and it became heavy.
Yes.
Because it was new. And then they use the word burnout. And it's like, you're not burnout. You're just going through a transition.
Yeah.
Like, adapt. It's not that big a deal. But that's
Right.
also our generation of put some dirt on it or walk it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had coaches when I played sports when I was younger. It's just like, I might have had a broken ankle, and the advice
Walk it off.
from my coaches were, "Hey, do a couple laps, you'll be all right."
Yeah. Walk it
Okay,
off.
so
Mhm.
there are trade-offs in those two things, but
Yeah,
I get
but
it.
I think employers can combat this a little bit. I mean, we have all the resources at our fingertips. We've got EAPs. Many companies have HR business partners or generalists that can support people through it. You're right. It is a transition, and sometimes it's an uncomfortable transition, and some of
100%.
it is heavily weighted on the home, impacting the work, and some of it is
Right.
work impacting the home. And so if you have these resources and you're paying for them as a company, utilize them. Figure out a way to utilize them and communicate them with your employees so that burnout doesn't become just another box that you tick on the reason you're leaving a company.
Right. I love it. Stephanie, we could talk all day.
I know, I
Your
like
report's
you.
fantastic.
It's
Thank
fun.
you so much. This has been wonderful. Brian?
Oh, it has. Thank you all for listening. Please love us, watch us, like us, subscribe.